Alright guys, Mother's Day is around the corner. Do you have a fragrance for your mom yet? In today's video, I'm talking about Mother's Day floral fragrances. Whether you're a mom and you like to wear floral fragrances, I've got suggestions here for you. Or you're shopping for mom and you wanted to buy her a floral fragrance, and I've got those suggestions here for you. But I'm doing a twist on today's video. I'm highlighting 3 brands that I don't speak too much about. We're talking about BDK, who I'm going to recommend 2 fragrances plus a bonus after the outro. We've got Goldfield and Banks, and even though I speak quite a bit about Goldfield and Banks, I don't highlight these 2 fragrances because they tend to be floral. And then also Fragrance du Bois. I'm going to highlight 3 fragrances from the house of Fragrance du Bois that I think are perfect Mother's Day floral fragrances. Are you a fan of these 3 houses? Do let me know. Put a comment down below so I can find out. But either way, find out about some great Mother's Day floral fragrance options coming right up. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian. Yes, today we're talking about Mother's Day floral fragrances. It's almost that time of the year. I'm not giving my mom fragrance this year, although I might surprise her with something. This year I'm giving her some flowers, and I'm giving her a candle and ambiance spray this year. Although I might throw in a fragrance, and it might end up being a floral. So I always surprise her with fragrances anyway, but I love gifting my mom floral fragrances or fragrances in general, and I think floral fragrances are perfect for Mother's Day. And if you're looking for one, these are some great options, as I was saying. So why don't we go ahead and get started? But before we do, I do want to say the fragrances are all selling at Twisted Lily, and there's a 10% off discount code for these fragrances or any fragrances there. You can check out the info box and go over there and use the discount code. But let's go ahead and first start with Velvet Tonka from BDK. To me, this is a floral gourmand, more focusing on the gourmand, along with some floral touches. And the floral notes in this particular fragrance are orange blossom and rose, which creates a very yummy accord here, along with almonds, tonka beans, vanilla, tobacco, and amyris. This fragrance is my favorite fragrance from BDK. I absolutely love it. It's quite delicious, and I love wearing it. I love the nuttiness. I love the sweet vanillic touches, and also the bit of a dirtiness with the tobacco, the ashiness, of course, along with the floral touches of the orange blossom and rose. Really, really a delicious fragrance. Happens to be my favorite. I love wearing it. This is BDK's Velvet Tonka. Let me know if you're a fan of that one. In fact, this past weekend, I took some clients that came over for a sniff session here to ZGO Perfumery, and my client fell in love with that one and she bought it, which is kind of cool. But moving on to the house of BDK once again, we're doing 2 fragrances from BDK. This is Villa Neroli, this one right here. Beautiful, beautiful Neroli fragrance, very summer-esque. If you're living in a place that is warm, I think this is going to be a perfect Mother's Day fragrance. It has that beautiful neroli smell, kind of a citrus floral smell, and it's very, very white floral citrusy touch here, which I absolutely love. So it doesn't only include neroli, it has Tunisian neroli, but it also has Moroccan orange blossom, Verdelli lemon, and Petitgrain. So you've got every citrus angle coming in here with this fragrance. You not only have the orange blossom and neroli, the same flower, different distillation extraction processes, but you also have lemons in here to give it a very, very tart, sweet, tart, lemony touch here. And then, of course, you've got the greenness from the Petitgrain, which is the leaves of the bitter orange tree. It's an overdose of citruses, but there's also a very solar experience here, very sunny, sunshiny, warm, but fresh and juicy and floral at the same time. Villa Neroli could be my second favorite from this house, maybe the third favorite, but I think it's definitely a really, really yummy neroli citrus floral focused fragrance. Really love that fragrance. But if you're into the idea of something more sparkling, this fragrance from the house of Goldfield and Banks called Sunset Hour will do. This actually smells like cocktails, and probably you're going to take mom out for some cocktails before a Mother's Day lunch or something, or dinner. And I think wearing this fragrance, once again in a warm atmosphere, I think is going to be perfect. There's a sparkly effervescence about this fragrance that I really love. And there's also an underlying kind of an experience of something like Baccarat Rouge. I'm not saying it smells like Baccarat Rouge, but something, the sparkling effervescence that's in here, the champagne bubbliness, creates for that kind of an effect, which I quite think it's fun. But it features notes of desert peach, raspberries, jasmine sambac, ginger, pink pepper, sandalwood, cashmere wood, benzoin. So there's the experience of fresh notes and warm notes here, and the actual wearing experience is beautiful. And I think this will make a great fragrance for maybe perhaps a younger mom, but a really fun and playful and very bubbly, sparkling, effervescent, fresh, fruity, cocktaily kind of a wear. This is a Sunset Hour from Goldfield and Banks. I think that's probably the more popular of that house. I think that's probably the biggest seller of that house. I can tell because a lot of ladies seem to like that one, and I feel like it's a perfect recommendation from that house for Mother's Day. And then another fragrance from the house of Goldfield and Banks. This one to me is a floral bomb, much more floral I think than the previous one. The previous one, Sunset Hour, is more of a fruity floral, so you've got the best of both worlds of those notes, the fruits and the florals. This is more of a floral bomb, and it actually creates for a makeup-y effect. This is Southern Bloom from Goldfield and Banks. Definitely a perfect floral fragrance and a bit more classic, maybe a bit leaning Chypre-esque, but it features notes of Boronia, Jasmine, Cassis, Sandalwood, Vetiver, Ylang-Ylang, and coconut. And even though this one has fruits as well, I feel like the flowers are more amplified. The Boronia, Jasmine, Ylang-Ylang, definitely in your face, lots of flowers. There's a bit of a tropical edge here as well, and I feel like the Ylang-Ylang and the Vetiver, Sandalwood kind of puts it into a bit of a direction of like a Chypre, but then when I'm wearing this one, it's very, very powdery, and there's the experience of makeup as well, so I think it's a perfect Mother's Day fragrance. Maybe perhaps moms that are a bit more old school or older, or ones that appreciate some more classical fragrances, and they're definitely going to enjoy Southern Bloom, I think. It's not necessarily uber classic smelling, it's very modern, but for me it hints at classics, and that's kind of what I like about it, and I like that whole kind of makeup-y effect that this fragrance creates as well. So Southern Bloom from the house of Goldfield and Banks, I think it's a great underrated floral fragrance for moms to try who are more into a bit of a classic touch with their fragrances. Alright, moving on to the house of Fragrance du Bois, and I've got 3 recommendations from the house of Fragrance du Bois, and this is a brand new one here that I wanted to highlight. This is called Siberian Rose. This is actually perfectly named Siberian Rose because there's definitely an ice-cold effect with this one that when I'm wearing it, I can totally experience it. It has notes of tuberose along with rose, leather, pears, moss, juniper, ylang-ylang, pink pepper, amber, patchouli, and cinnamon. For me, this is called Siberian Rose. I feel like it should have been called Siberian Tuberose because I feel like the tuberose in here is much more prominent than the rose. There's a rosy effect for sure, but I feel like for me when I'm wearing it, the tuberose dominates in comparison to the rose. There's definitely a leather here. It's definitely very leathery and also very, very potent and kind of intense when you're wearing it. It has the effect of kind of like an old school leathery fragrance, but modern fresh floral touches as well. And you've got the Ylang-Ylang coming in here and the spices of pink pepper coming in, and then of course eventually it turns out to be like a spicy woody patchouli and amber wearing experience. It's different. And also, I feel like when I'm wearing it, I get the effect of ambergris in here because there's a bit of a light animalic undertone there as well. Perhaps it's a tuberose kind of playing a trick on my nose, but there's something like that in here. There's definitely a muskiness here, but really, really beautiful to wear. Definitely ice cold because there's an ice cold wearing experience here. Perhaps it's created from the tuberose or some notes together, but there's an iciness about it, and that's why I felt like Siberian is appropriately named because it's, you know, snow covered, very ice cold there, and it makes sense that this is being called Siberian Rose. Again, maybe Siberian Tuberose because I personally get more tuberose than rose, but maybe some of you get more rose. Let me know about Siberian Rose. Are you a fan of Fragrance du Bois Siberian Rose? I'd like to find out. But moving on to another amazing fragrance from this house, a really, really wonderful fragrance. This is New York 5th Avenue from the house of Fragrance du Bois. And this is absolutely fantastic. It smells super delicious. There's definitely a bit of a Middle Eastern vibe with this one. Of course, it's Fragrance du Bois, and I think a lot of their fragrances do have this kind of a wear, but this is so beautiful. beautiful, so ambery, and also very, very floral with notes of rose. There's Cypriol, Cashmere, caramel, vanilla, musk, Guaiac wood, violet, and bergamot. In the end, it has that very Middle Eastern smell with roses. I almost feel like there's a bit of oud here. It's intense, it's potent, it's very, very ambery and warm. It's rich and opulent and spicy at the same time. Woods definitely come in, but also it feels like it's perfectly balanced with woods, ambery touches, and flowers and spices. Not one note totally stands out to kind of dominate and take over. There's the experience of a perfect blend, you know? Every note that comes in here is perfect in the amount that's in here. That's how I wear it. And I feel like this is one of the masterpieces of Fragrance du Bois. It smells fantastic. It smells great. And I think for a mom that lives in a cooler temperature, I think this is going to satisfy because this has great longevity. It smells fantastic. Lots of rose here and also woods and ambery touches and spices. Super fantastic fragrance. This is a great, great fragrance from this house. It's New York 5th Avenue, and that is a great, great Mother's Day fragrance suggestion, I think. And then finally, last but not least, we're talking about Oud Jaune Intense here. So this is my classic older bottle from this house. And you know, this is the first fragrance I started wearing from this house, and it's an overdose. I would call this a big bad floral. In fact, I have actually featured this fragrance in a video called Big Bad Florals. It's also a very tropical floral fragrance, but it's really, really super potent. It features notes of tiare flower, there's fruity notes, there's ylang-ylang, jasmine, pineapple, white flowers. So there's definitely beachy, suntan, lotiony touch in here, but it's uber strong. The tiare flower is in your face, the fruits are in your face, and the ylang-ylang is also in your face. So if you like the idea of a beachy, tropical, kind of a floral fragrance, and your mom is into those kind of notes, I think this is a great fragrance to try. The oud is kind of, it's called Oud Jaune Intense, right? But I feel like the oud is in the back seat, you know, it's not the main player. For me, this is about the tropical style, the tropical beachiness, the tiare flower, the fruits. They're kind of tropical fruits, you know, pineapple, mangoes, and things like that come in here. And then, of course, the ylang-ylang as well. So if you like the idea of a tropical kind of a theme for a fragrance for mom, I think Oud Jaune Intense is a great one. A great, wonderful fragrance, actually. I love the way it smells. Definitely has that kind of a beachy vibe. And also kind of like a bit of like suntan lotion, because I get that with tiare flower whenever I smell it in fragrances. It's definitely in here. So Oud Jaune Intense is the last fragrance I'm going to recommend from the house of Fragrance du Bois. What are your thoughts on these fragrances, and do you have any other suggestions from these houses with the floral fragrance options for Mother's Day? Let me know. Put a comment down so I can find out. And as I said, these are sold at Twisted Lily, and there is a 10% off discount code for these fragrances. The code's in the info box. You can go there and check them out. And let me know what you're buying for mom, if you buy a fragrance for your mom, or if you are a mom, what are you wearing for Mother's Day? I know I'm going to hang out with my mom. I'm actually flying over to see her for Mother's Day, taking her gifts, but I'll also buy her flowers. And of course, as I said, I'm probably going to gift her some fragrance as well. But let me know what you guys are planning on doing for Mother's Day, or if you are a mom, what are you doing for Mother's Day as far as fragrances go and things like that. Either way, guys, thanks so much for watching today's video. If you have any questions or comments, please list below. Please like this video, please share it, follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye. And then I have a bonus fragrance. I don't have the fragrance here. I'm highlighting it here just in case you guys have opinions on this one. It's BDK's Tuberose Imperial. Are you a fan of tuberose in fragrances? Are you, as a mom, do you wear tuberose as fragrances, in fragrances? And I should say, if you're shopping for your mom for a floral fragrance, would you gift her a tuberose fragrance? What are your thoughts on Tuberose Imperial? I remember sampling it in the past, but I don't quite know much about it. But it has notes of tuberose, ylang-ylang, geranium, vanilla, benzoin, jasmine sambac, Egyptian jasmine, iris, rose bay, and santal. The notes sound wonderful, and I'm curious to get my nose on this one again. But do let me know what your thoughts are on Tuberose Imperial from the house of BDK. Is it worth getting your nose on it? Are there any fans out there of this fragrance? Do let me know. Put a comment down. And either way, guys, thanks so much for watching. As I said, happy Mother's Day, and see you guys very soon. Bye-bye.